Oh, there's a question right away here. Can you talk about resonance again? Sure, and I'll talk about resonance, and then I'll have an apparent intro. Um, Resonance again is almost like a remembrance, although there's no time. It's a remembrance of timelessness. It's the seeing that there's no separation. So nothing is resonating with its own nothingness. Emptiness is resonating with its own emptiness. So the resonance is although there's no truth, it's like a how do you say it? Something intuitively rings true. Kind of like what before what was your friend's name again earlier? He goes, there's something that rings true about this. Dean. Dean was saying that there's something that rings true about this, even when it's being rejected sometimes, this communication, right? Even when there is this seeming kind of like, I don't know about that, but there's a resonance sometimes that happens with it that or even when there's a really distracting, really good looking speaker, but there's this there's this resonance that what is being expressed what's being expressed is that there is something honest about this, what's being expressed. Although when it doesn't even make sense sometimes, right? There's this kind of like, what do you mean that there's all illusion? What do you mean? Even when it's talking, breaking the fourth wall and saying that, well, this is an illusion, there's this kind of like, I don't believe that, but it rings true. It's almost kind of like an intuitiveness. It's like, how do you say it? Kind of like, I'm in the same wavelength with this one. I don't believe it, but yeah. Does that make any sense? Kind of like, it's familiar. It's intimate. There's something familiar about this. Is this what is? Maybe what's familiar is that this is really just nothing. What if this is just this? It's kind of like an aha moment. Kind of like, that everything that is seen, that everything that is perceived is just a hoax. It's an illusion. That everything that is understood, that everything that is heard, that everything that is felt is just this illusion. And there's also this and then people might call this solipsism or something, that there's only this singular illusion. In that singular illusion, there is a self, but there's not even a self. So there's no separate self, there's no higher self, there's no other selves. And it feels kind of alone. So it's emptiness resonating with its own emptiness. It's empty. And there's almost kind of like that that receptive into something that cannot really become like, I'm a bit receptive to this, but I don't understand why. This is almost like dissociative. That's not. It's something that does not make sense, but somehow it's kind of like when. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier, that it's like someone pouring cold water on your head. You're like, there's nothing happening. There's no one to wake up. There are no relationships. I want to answer that, your talk. And in this relationship that's seemingly happening, it's not real, but it feels real. There's an argument happening sometimes, or there's some whatever seems to happen in a relationship, but no one's in the relationship. It's almost like sometimes there's this resonance that you're speaking to a brick wall. Does that make any sense? Yeah, right. But also when there's just this happening, there's just this appearance in a relationship, then there could be just this full-on attraction, full-on communication, full-on acceptance, full-on enjoyment, because it's not trying to be something that it's not already. There's just these filters are off. in the relationship. And then you asked earlier, does the other person have to be empty? It's already empty. Everything is already empty. They don't even need an understanding of this when life is just as it is.
Say you're like with somebody that's very dramatic.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting here and now you're thinking everything is empty, but now you can't stand being in that space and you just want to leave. So that too, then it's emptiness wanting to leave.
Yes.
You're not feeling bad about it.
Yes.
But then that person who's now dramatic might be like, you're being a bitch, why are you leaving?
Then that's also emptiness. Oh, yes. Oh. Earlier, Kelsey, about, oops, just a second. Yes, it is on, sorry. So I like what Kelsey was saying earlier, that she went to the concert and there was just this lobotomy. So Rage Against the Machine doesn't have to be empty, doesn't it? It's already empty. Yeah. Because there's empty, not recognizing, seeing that it's seeing an empty concert. And there's an appearance of Rage Against the Machine, people dancing everywhere, but it's emptiness everywhere. So the resonance is in that, when there's this seeker, when the storyteller ends, you know what I'm saying, is that what seems to be happening is as it is. So the resonance is almost like a remembrance that everything is already as it is. So there's almost kind of like a, how do you say it, an openness to what's really happening. And there's this curiousness, right? Rather than kind of like, aha, this is really nothing. This is nothing happening. Not trying to understand what nothing happening is. And it's just in this, almost like this intimacy, this familiarness about what is. That this is just what is happening. And it has this, it's kind of like almost like you're in harmony. You're in tune of what's going on. It's kind of like you're, the emptiness that is breaking the fourth wall that's saying there is no one here. Then emptiness all of a sudden is hearing that. It bypasses the understanding, or it sees through that it's not talking to anyone. It's talking to itself. So there's this resonance. It rings true. It's a remembrance. It's like, although there's no memory, there's no time or anything like that, it's this kind of like, it's almost like this intuitiveness. It's kind of like, it's like, I like that one. Like a tuning fork resonating with another. Yeah. You're in the same key. The key of nothing. And it doesn't have any sound. It doesn't have any understanding. It doesn't have any meaning. But it just resonates and you can't figure it out. I like what you said. It's like a lobotomy. Oh, I said that too. Okay. This is like a lobotomy, yeah. Or someone said it actually in a meeting. Yeah. I like that tuning fork too. So, in what's being expressed here is that this brilliance, this boundlessness energy, seemingly makes everything, this aliveness and awakeness and this vibrancy and this tangibleness, this energy that seemingly is flowing and changing, seemingly this never-ending creativity that's appearing, is what you're resonating with. It's what's talking to you right now. Although there's no you and there's no one speaking, there's the resonance in this wowness, in this beauty, in this grimness, or whatever seems to appear. It's just this. It's just this. It's just this. And in this, and this, and this is an explosion of this apparent nothing that is animating everything. So there's this space around this room. There's this space in your room. Let's call it formlessness. And it's appearing as form, as Steve, as Susie, as Corey, as Janine, as Tej. And there's form. And there's this seeming kind of like distance between us. But this seeming distance, there's actually no distance. This seeming distance, this seeming space actually is fullness. So this fullness is appearing as this separation. All this empty space appears as this empty character named Tej. All of these characters here on the screen. Hamza here, Jeff, Shadi. It's all appearing as this seeming individual. Kelsey and Jack. And of course, Carla. It's appearing as this. But it's actually just really emptiness. It's really nothing. So the resonance is that they're seeing kind of like, I recognize you, you're nothing. I remember it. Yeah, you're nothing too. We're the same. Yeah. But there's no me and there's no you, if you know what I mean. But we're just conversing in this. And Jack, there's no ending and there's no beginning. It's just nothing. Same with you, Hamza. You know, there's no Hamza really. I remember you. But not in time. In timelessness. And that's what's being expressed here. It's just this resonance that's appearing everywhere. It's already everything. And sometimes in this resonance, in these aha moments, or this kind of like, I don't get what he's saying because I feel that I'm here, but somehow, I get it. But I don't get it. But I get it. But I don't get it. That kind of thing. Even that flip-flopping is resonance. Like, There's a curiousness into it. There's an openness to what's being expressed here. There's kind of like not a rejection of this infinite singing of nothing. And it's just this, it's always been this way. It's always been this way. And everything that seems to appear is already perfect. It's perfectly this way. And the resonance again happens, right? When the resonance happens, it's like, it's perfect. But not my version of perfect. It's just perfect. Even my version of what's perfect is also perfect. And what's appearing is perfect. It's just appearing this way. I'm kind of like on the same page with you now. I don't get you, but I'm on the same page. And there's not kind of like, no. But even, you know what, in the story of this character, even when he was kind of like, oh no, you know what, I invested so much in my books and all of my quotes and I spent like almost 10 grand a year in seeking. Do you mean that really meant nothing? And I have this library of books and I have volumes and volumes of quotes that I highlighted carefully, earmarked the important ones, and then put in post-it notes so the ones that can easily access, the one that really, that I can repeat, that makes me sound like I know something. You mean that's all? But somehow there's a rejection, but there's a resonance. I'm like, yeah, it's all bullshit. Everything that I've been doing is all BS. So that's resonance too. Or kind of like we're talking about the relationship, like this is really funny when it's mentioned that there are no others. If there's no you, there are no others. Everything that you see is just nothing. It's not even a reflection. It's just really nothing. You're seeing it clearly. Nothing is appearing as forms. Nothing is appearing as disapparent individuals, but it's really, really nothing. And in this nothingness and this seeming kind of like, there's a resonance that although you're seeing, separation, there's a resonance that, yeah, there's nothing because everyone that you see is dead. And then when you go wake up in the morning, they resurrect again. Everyone disappears at night. The nature, death, right? Everyone disappears at night. And in the morning, you're like, let me call, let me message Carla. And then Carla all of a sudden appears. Carla has samosas. Perfect. My favorite dead people person right now. You know what I'm saying? It just appears. The moment that I disappear from this screen and you go to sleep, I'm not here. I'm just being honest. I'm not here. I've never been here. You've never been here. There's no time. And then what's being expressed here is that in this resonance of timelessness, although the resonance seems to appear in time, it's remembering that there is no time. It's like, well, you know what? Last night when I went to bed, I had a deep sleep and I thought I had like a 2-hour sleep, but it was actually 8 hours. And this morning, I was lying down going through TikToks. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's been an hour. And or sometimes when I'm speaking, you know, in this special, especially yesterday, right? I'm like, what? It's already like 90 minutes. There's no time. And I know that there's resonance when I say that there's no time. There's this timelessness. Time is a concept, and the conceptual time. So you were never late. There's no time. You just arrived. That's what's being expressed here. And what's also being expressed here is this resonance that there is something that is being expressed here that is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the one that thinks it's unbelievable is also unbelievable. It's not true. So the one that believes and not believes is not true. And also this resonance sometimes what's being expressed here, that all the beliefs are just empty. There's never been a belief system. Because all the belief system apparently disappears and appears. Oh, sorry. Someone's asking a question. Oh, shoot. Okay. If you guys want to ask, I can just keep on talking. Sorry. That was like 30 minutes of talk. Sorry. There's no time. That's what I mean. You know what I'm saying? 20 minutes intro. Sorry. Who has a question? Sorry. Oh, no one has a question. Sorry. Should I keep on going? Yeah? Okay. So what rings true is that everything is not true. That feeling of that there's something missing is a resonance. There's got to be something better than this. There's something missing. It's a resonance, and basically it's basically expressing that feeling, that resonance or something that is true is coming from an untrue statement. Something that is not even here. It's like the ghost in the machine. But there's no ghost. If you have any questions, please go ahead. I enjoy talking about nothing to no one. Sorry, Jeff.
But isn't there a ghost in the machine? Like, doesn't that appear as something?
Let's just say it's just a machine. Let's just say it's nothing at all. Because when you're dreaming at night, there's no ghost in the machine. It's just what's happening. I'm just trying to simplify it, right? I can also say that it's just a ghost in a machine animating this and everything. But that goes into the territory of knowing again, right? This is just ripping apart any knowing. Because no one knows here. This is the unknown. So landing into like this is a ghost in a machine, or kind of like I like calling it like this is all driving by itself, and there's no driver. It's automatic. Because ghost in the machine sometimes goes into the territory of someone doing this for you. There's no one doing this.
Okay, so why do we pretend like someone is doing it? Why do we feel like someone is here? Is it just, as I said, I think I said on the break, maybe it's just to, just for fun, pretending that.
Let's just even say that there's no reason at all. It's just happening, right? It's just a play. It's playing by itself with no players. It's the infinite playing in time. It's just what's happening. It's unknowable. Trying to understand trying to understand it puts it in a box, right? This can't be put in a box.
Okay. I feel like I'm in the hot seat here. But I was, okay, so last night I woke up in the middle of the night and I had like a lack of centeredness, a lack of, what do you call that again? Centeredness, I guess, or lack of localization, whatever. And it scared me, unfortunately. I got scared, and I kind of treated it as though the same way that I would treat like a bad dream. I just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I went back to sleep.
Yeah. When there seems in the dream, when there seems to be a loosening of the belief, then there's this widening, right? There's this curiousness that's kind of like this openness. It's this resonance that's opening it to its own nothingness. And it gets scary because it gets kind of like, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm losing myself. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I felt fear, strangely, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised I was scared because I've been
Wanting this, yeah.
oh, and also looking into this, having glimpses maybe occasionally for a long time, but
So what's really funny, what it desires, it's afraid of it. It's petrified of its own demise. So it longs for its own demise. It longs for its own absence. But when the absence is being kind of like it's right smack in the face of you, then you're like, oh shit, it's true. I'm not really here. So then this contraction happens, and then it becomes really kind of like a bad dream.
well, when the contraction, like you wake up, I woke up and from a dream, from sleeping, and felt like that, and then I just kind of contracted almost automatically, and then treated it like a bad dream, like not necessarily terribly bad or anything, just like.
Or I can just say it's just what's happening. So what? You know what I'm saying? There's just this, it's, as you said, it's just a play, right? Contracting, opening, contracting, opening. But even that contracting and opening is just a play, right? But seemingly there's kind of like what I was talking earlier, when there is this something is resonating, right? So it's kind of like this, what's resonating is not the knowing, it's the unknowing. It's kind of like opening up, right? Kind of like, there's nothing. And then the knowing, kind of like the knowing, like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Boom.
So I was experiencing maybe unknowing.
Yeah, there was no one that knows, so there was just this openness. So the localization is seen as an illusion, right? There's just this openness. So sometimes, I someone actually emailed me, basically said that they were, I don't know if I can find that email. Someone said that they were afraid of losing themselves yesterday. It was just really, really scary because, and someone said that, there was the person that said about the fourth wall, that when it was being spoken directly to, it kept on glitching, right? They're kind of like, there's no one here, But there's this almost automatic programming, although there's no programming, that you're here. This is reality. This is happening. Right? And it's kind of like, it's like this reveal that there's no one here, and there's automaticness at the same time, this duality, that, but you're here. But when it's seen that that's also emptiness, even that contraction is emptiness, it's the same.
It's hard to see that contraction as also being emptiness.
Yes, because you will never see that. It's, again, what I was talking about is just this resonance. It rings through, but you will never get it. it feels there's this warm kind of like almost like a warm fuzzy feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, whew, right? That's what I was when I was listening to this before. I'm sure I don't know if you guys have felt that before, but there's just kind of like there's rejection and there's a warmness to it at the same time. And that's what's being expressed here. That's the openness, right? There's just this openness or this relaxation. It's kind of like, oh. And that's why a lot of people listen to this just to relax.
Yeah, I guess you could. I guess you can say that there's kind of a warmness, is that what you called it?
Yeah.
A warmness? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a warmness to it, right? And then all of a sudden, kind of like this contraction is the coldness, or it's kind of like, oh. Yeah.
But I was just thinking, actually, even if you're feeling contracted, like while listening to this, feel a warmness at the same time as feeling like a separate individual or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a rejection of it, and also there's this resonance at the same time, right? It's kind of like, I don't like what's being said. It's kind of scary and everything. Or there's just this kind of like, and long-time listeners to this, some of the reason that they like this is just, it rings true. Although there's no truth, it feels that what's being said is what is already known.
And so therefore they feel relaxed. That's relaxing to them.
It's remembrance of what's home. This is home. What's being talked about is just home. The alreadiness. This is already.
So it's great that it's kind of the lazy man's guide to enlightenment because there's absolutely nothing you have to do. It's perfect for me, really. Assuming I exist.
Hello?
Oh, did I press it?
That's okay. Hello, yes. Kind of like that, but there's no lazy, there's no man. It's just laziness happening. It's better. Yeah. Hey, Leela. Where are you, Leela?
Me again.
Hello.
Can you explain, I'm not going to use the correct language, just you explain your experience. Like you were saying, unknowing is centerless. So the point of view, the expression point of view doesn't only mean location in space from which you look, the point of view, but it also means your opinion, your knowing of something. Yeah. So even in English, it means both those things. So when you drop that center and you're living in centerless, and then sensation arises, like you get your finger closed in a door, does that appear to be spatial? Or what does it appear to be? Can you describe it?
It's like the fullness of everything, right? So when the identification, when there's this is my pain, that this is my liberation or something, it includes everything. So for example, at this apparent moment, at this apparent seeing here, that there's just this sameness in everything, that this is just an appearance, that there's no separate appearances here. There's just this appearance, and this appearance is not really happening. So anything that happens in this apparent appearance is also an unhappening. So there's no separate appearance there. There's no separate appearance there. There's no separate perception here. There's just this wholeness. So everything that comes is seemingly centralized, but it's actually decentralized.
But when you talk about your ribs cracked or your finger, you look at that part of your body. You know where it, like there is an apparent moving. Yeah, but your eyes go down, your hand goes to your rib. So what is that? What is that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. It's just an appearance, right? So it's like a dream. You know, I don't try to figure out the dream anymore because it's just a dream. So the appearance of pain happening in the ribs kind of like happening is just a happening. And also saying that never really happened. There are no ribs. There's no Emerson. There's nothing happening. Because all of that is just coming as a story now. So in this directness of this, there's just this seeming voice speaking. And there's this Leela speaking there. But what's being expressed here is that there is just this no separation from that. So I don't even see a questioner. I don't even see an answerer. This is just wholeness appearing as a question and an answer, appearing as reaction to whatever is being said. It's all an appearance.
Mm.
Yeah. It doesn't really
So
answer
the
your question. Sorry
develop
about that.
no.
But yeah, I'm just being, it's just expressing here what
In
is
the what's
appearing.
happening, there is conditioning of
Mm.
some sort that before this was realized, there was
Yeah,
a
in the
little
story,
Emerson
in the story,
there was a
sorry.
little Emerson that mommy said, "This is my hand and this is my rib," and then
Yeah.
little Emerson learned, "This
Mhm.
is my," even though it's not true, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Little
yeah. There's
Emerson,
yeah, in the dream, right? In the dream, for example, in a dream at night, so what seemed to happen that all of Emerson's history, including this history, is seen as an unhappening.
and unhappy.
Unhappening. Yeah, it's happening. It's an unhappening, meaning that it's not really happening. This is a play, right? So anything that is previous, even this apparent appearance is not really happening. Because what's seen is that there's never been an Emerson in time and space. And there's no time and space. So the conditioning is the story of a character
Yeah.
named Emerson that seemed to have appeared in time and space. But since it's seen that there's no time and space, everything that appears in time, the history of Emerson, is seen as really nothing. Because all that there is timelessness. Yeah. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Thank you. Yes, Anita, nothing is special. David. Hey, David.
Yes, I said this before, and it's just incredibly, incredibly tragic. The predicament of the apparent self, isn't it? Because on one hand, here we all are, these apparent selves, trying to become enlightened,
Yeah.
and we're never going to become enlightened for multiple reasons. There's no self and there's no enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and if you're not seeking enlightenment, you're looking for something else. You're not going to find what you're ultimately looking for, are you?
Yeah, it's like a tragic comedy.
You're not going to go to heaven. You're not going to go to the promised land. So there's nothing in front of the self, and there's nothing behind it. There's no goals that it's ever going to reach.
No,
Really?
no, that's what's being expressed. But
exceptionally tragic, isn't it?
yeah, but you know what? I was just talking to, in the break, I was just talking to the group here that although this character lost everything, even when it lost its identity, I had identity theft as well that bankrupted this character. When it had $5 in its pocket, was sleeping on a couch, was basically homeless, and it's never been this happy in its entire apparent history. Although there's no history, there's just this contentment, this amazement that this is happening and it's not really happening. It doesn't need riches. It doesn't need fame or anything like that, right? So because that all of that ended, and this is a surprise. And then there's a song that I played earlier. It's called "But Not Tonight" that I sing out loud when I walk at night, because there's just this. And then there's a line in it that says, "I've never felt this alive in years." Every night, this apparent dead speaker is aliveness in every single moment. So it's not really that tragic. It seems really tragic when there's a belief in the story. But since there's no one here, it doesn't give... It's just this. It's just this aliveness appearing as whatever.
And some might say that there are 7.5 billion people out there who are in that tragic predicament.
And what's also seen here is that, you know, in this, when you lose everything, you also lose 7.5 billion people.
Yeah.
You
It's
lose
okay.
all of that. Yeah.
And it's okay to say that once you're there.
Well, there's no one here.
Once you're dead, it's okay to say that. You're dead, Emerson, aren't you?
I'm sorry.
It's okay for you to say that because you're already where we all want to get to. Because
It's
you're already
there's
dead. You're
also
enlightened.
this is the fourth wall speaking to this nothingness. There's also no David. David thinks that there's a David, but when there's no thinking, there's no David. So this is
Yeah.
not addressing David. This is being addressed to what is appearing. What is appearing is not David. David only appears in thoughts and time. So David's incessant, seeking for it to be absent is already appearing as this. It's already absent. There's no David. And there's no Emerson. So there's no better state and lesser state. There's no better because you're not dead there. There's no one here. But somehow there's this illusion that's convinced that it's real. Because the illusion is convinced that it's real. But when it's seen that that convincing illusion is also what it's longing for, meaning the seeing through that's not really happening, then it doesn't give a flying fuck anymore. Okay, and talking to the fourth screen. Yeah, so that's that's what's being expressed here. Loud and clear.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank
All right. There's also no one there.
It's easy to consider.
Hot seat.
Sitting back there on the couch, it's easy to imagine, to see David as not really existing, because I can only hear his voice. So for all I know, he doesn't really exist. Does he exist?
No, and you don't exist as well.
Do you think anyone will miss me now that I don't exist?
No one will miss you. David, Jeff, only appears in thoughts and ideas. There's this seeming kind of like, like this felt sense of realness though, but that's not Jeff. That's just emptiness, experiencing apparently separation in this illusion of separation that it's moving through time and space. But since it's just a ride, when the ride ends, it's seen that no one was there. No one was in the ride. It's just a ride.
It's almost like a roller coaster called Jeff.
There's no Jeff. It's just a roller coaster.
I don't really know what to ask now.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
It's very funny that no one had their identity stolen.
Yeah.
There was nothing to take.
There was nothing to take. Yeah, in the story, it's almost a reverse, right? There's this identity thief, and that's you. taking on the identity of separation, taking on the identity of others.
I
Give
feel
it
a
up.
chapter of the book called The Identity Thief.
Yes, I like that actually. There's also a new chapter called Fort Wall now. People people keep on asking about that. Yeah.
But also the identity theft happened just before, wasn't it? Or
In the story, yeah, the identity theft of
something fell away.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a story.
Coincidence.
It's just a story. Yeah, it's just a story. Hi, Emerson. Can others' expectations keep the character in place even if there are no others? Okay, let me repeat that. Emerson, can others' expectations keep the character in place even if there are no others, no characters, and no expectations? I don't understand others. And you, do you, do you want to add to that question? I'm not getting the question, to be honest. Can others' expectation keep the character in place? There's no character in the first place, even if there are no others, no characters, and no expectations. Oh, okay. When it's seen that there's no others, relationship actually becomes a little bit free. There's no more expectations of this character or any kind of I'm not sure if I'm answering this right, but I'm just going with it anyway. So in a relationship, for example, with my mom or my dad, there's just this freedom now, right? There's no more should be this way, my expectation of should be that way. Everything is just seen as it is. Everything is seen as just this perfection. My dad likes adding a lot of cornstarch in everything that he cooks. That's perfection. I don't like it, but that's what's happening.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Hi.
Eh,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good, Anne. How are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just wondering though, is it possible that the character rebuilds itself in the expectations of others? So it's almost like an automatic thing that
Oh.
happens.
Oh, I
Does that
see. I
make
see. I see.
sense?
Yeah, you know what? The character is just free as it is. So it's not really built. It doesn't really have. I can even say that there's really no conditioning, right? There's no
Mm,
history, there's no past. In the story, there seems to be conditioning, but the character is
mm,
just as it is. So if it's cheeky one day, it's cheeky one day. If it's just really charming and good looking, that's what it is. And
mm,
if it's an asshole one day, that's just as it is, right? There's no more
mm,
box of what the character is. It
mm,
doesn't. The character just becomes this free character, and there's no more filters. There's no more seeming kind of like history. Does that make any sense? It's a character that's just appearing as it is.
mhm.
Yeah.
I suppose if that character hasn't isn't that, so the me's still here. So if it's kind of like character me, would is it like others' expectations could create the me being there again? So it's
No,
almost no,
no, because there's no others, right? So it's
yeah.
free from the influence of others because there's just no others.
It's just a stimulus response thing, though. So,
Yeah.
do you see what I'm?
There's
I'm
there's reaction. For example, you know what I'm saying? If there's if somebody basically can like request me to play Britney Spears in a DJ set, then there's a
mm,
reaction. Maybe it's like sure or no. You know what I'm saying? Or kind of like, in these meetings, people usually, I get emails afterwards, and they usually request, can you talk about this? Can you do this? Sometimes there's a response saying, sure. Sometimes like, sure, maybe later. That kind of thing. It's just whatever's happening. It's just what's happening. There's no conforming. This
So
is
that's
actually, yeah,
that sounds like a free response. So
yeah.
it's like somebody asks, and you kind of like Brittany go, Brittany Spears. Okay, no. But it's almost that calling you to be who you were.
It's not pleasing others anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's not there to,
uh-huh,
because there are no others. So it doesn't try to please others because it's really playing for no one.
right.
Yeah. So seemingly, and this is really strange, right? When it's not playing for anyone anymore, when it's trying to please the audience, the
Yeah.
playing is actually potent, right? Because it's just there's no, you know what I'm saying? When I DJ, you know what I'm saying, and there's just this enjoyment in what's happening, and doesn't give a flying fuck with the audience, you know what I'm saying? There's just this enjoyment. The playing
Yeah.
plays it's just beautiful. And seemingly I get invited back to play.
Uh-huh.
It's like speaking, like this speaking is not really talking to anyone. It's not addressing anyone. Um, and what's seen as a question, or for example, is just seen as wholeness asking a question. So it's not really
Right.
separate from the answer, right? So if the
Mm-hmm.
response is kind of like a little bit like no, or hardcore, you know what I'm saying? Or when it's a little
Yeah.
bit kind, it's just a response. Or when the questioner, for example, is trying to grill it, that's just basically whatever's happening, and it doesn't really see separation anymore. It just sees everything as whole. And I know it's hard to understand that, but I know
Mm-hmm.
that there's also resonance with that, that this is whole, that this is complete, that there's this kind of like, yeah. Otherwise, the characters would be leaving the room if it's not really resonating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes the character, listens to this and it just completely kind of like, I have people that usually would listen to this, and then they can't take it and come back, like 3 months later, and they're like, there was something resonating, I could not figure it out, but I don't like the communication,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't like that you swear sometimes, that kind of thing, right? There's just this,
Mm-hmm.
but there is something that keeps on attracting me back to it. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And all of that is a story, of course.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Thank you.
I just realized I didn't need the headphones. And I'm a DJ. I'm just a DJ. Just kind of like, I'm used to headphones. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I took it off. I'm like, oh, I don't really need that. Yeah.
Well, the maybe obvious question that I think has been asked even during this past couple of days. If you don't exist, then where is the voice coming from? I mean, like, what is your voice, and what is this whole event this weekend?
Well, this is the voice of God coming through this. I'm just joking. Vanity happens, yeah. It's not coming from anywhere because there's no one here that it's coming from. It's not coming from an experience or an idea or a history, because everything that's appearing is just this. This is all at once appearing, right? So this is not from any knowledge or something. This is just happening automatically, and no one knows that here, and that's why it's being expressed this way. Because there's the one that thinks that it's an origin, it has a origin story, and this story is gone. Right? So there's just this immediacy speaking to no one. So this is not really even addressing you because you're not here. This is directly expressing that you're not here.
And also, you say that the sound, like there is only silence, and the sound of your voice, for example, is actually silence somehow. How can that be?
Yeah. scientifically, this is all silence. Since there's no time, how can sound travel from here to there? How can you hear it? So this sound is an illusion. This audio, all of this audio that you're hearing, the visual, the audio, is an illusion. It's not really happening.
The video and audio,
An audio.
and visual that
Yeah.
I perceive, the audio and visual that I perceive is not happening. So you say, how can a sound of my voice occur if there is no time? Okay, well, maybe you're right, but how? Like, can you walk me through the idea that there's no time?
Yeah, sure. So what's being expressed here, that this really, this complete illusion, right? This complete illusion. So in the illusion, there is the illusion of time. There's the illusion of you and me, separation. There's an illusion of feeling realness. There's an illusion. It's just everything that you perceive. Time, you and me, illusion. And I always talk about this. It's like a house of cards. It's a really fragile house of cards. If you take one, the illusion falls apart. So let's go first with time, right? So if there's no time, how can there be movement?
Can you tell me again how how it can be that there's no time?
Scientifically, and this is just a story, right? And then what's seen here, an apparent unhappening, is that this is timelessness. That everything that the me or the character that died is a concept, including time. So what it perceives in time, others, you and me, sound, separation, is a hoax. It's a complete illusion. There's also deep sleep that appears at night, which is eternity. Then there's this deep sleep appearing now, which is timelessness. So in this timelessness, there's this dream of time appearing, sound happening, but really there's no one here and there's no sound. This is silence.
So it's kind of like maybe like time is an aspect of the character, and it's kind of like a storybook. There, you look at a storybook, there's no time, you don't see time on a storybook, but when you read it, time like is part of the story.
It is a story,
Oh.
That was interesting how you said this is all silence.
Yeah. Yeah, she said, yeah, that's what I think I did a whole video about, that everything that you're longing for is silence, meaning peacefulness and everything. But everything that you hear is also silence. Because all of this sound to appear, there has to be an underlying silence. So every word really is silent. So everything that you're hearing right now is what you're seeking. There's peacefulness in everything, even in the apparent chaos and Rage Against the Machine concert. Did you hear silence for the first time last night? Was that? It was all silent. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
There I would hear no silence whatsoever, I suspect.
Hi, iPhone. Hello.
Hi, I'm right here.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Excellent.
To me, it's like a blank screen that everything just appears on.
Yeah.
And that's the illusion, but it's all a blank screen. And then the blank screen is all the silence and the nothingness and the emptiness until the characters are just performing on a blank screen.
Yes. I like that, yeah. But it's all only a blank screen.
Yeah, there's really nothing. It's just
There's
that we
really
get
nothing, yeah.
the illusion of an I or a we get caught up in the show that's happening on the blank screen.
Yes, I like that, yeah, totally.
Okay, thanks, Emerson.
Thank
Great
you, iPhone.
workshop.
Oh, sorry?
I said great workshop.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So one more thing. So I know this is going back and forth. So it appears like there are doers, but really there's no one doing anything.
And it's really crazy, right? Because there's this it's a very persistent illusion. It feels absolutely real. If I tap you there, there's others, right? But this singular illusion is actually, since it's an illusion, it's not really happening. This is kind of like when you're dreaming at night, it feels absolutely real. And then you wake up in the morning and there's this space, you're trying to thinking that what did I dream about last night? But what's not noticed is that the dream just became a daydream. So all of a sudden, so you can thinking that you're what did I dream about? But it's still a dream. This is still a dream.
So even if I have a thought, for example, that after this I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then none of that happens, and it takes me a completely different. So that is all part of it.
Yeah, everything is an illusion. The bathwater and the baby. Lobotomy. Yeah.
We can't even confirm it against something.
Yeah.
Okay, let me cross-reference it to something.
There's a famous quote by Einstein. Goes, reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. This is an illusion. So is Einstein. Oh, he's going to be a brilliant speaker, this guy.
Is there something behind the illusion? Is there anything behind the illusion?
Anything the question was, is there's anything behind the illusion? No, because it's a whole illusion. There's no one doing the illusion. It's an illusion and no one's illusion. It's illusion all around.
And his words are an illusion too.
My words are illusion too, yeah. And you're an illusion, yeah. This is really blackout. Yeah. This is deep sleep, yeah. Blackout. And there seems to be an appearing, this dream sequence of time happening, of you and I happening, and all of these talks happening. But since this is a dream, nothing is happening. Kind of like how we explain it, right? You're dreaming at night and it feels completely real. You were dreaming that, we were drinking Zinga beer, and then we were drinking some curry, and then you went to bed, and then you had a dream about contraction or whatever, and then you woke up in the morning. In the morning, there's this seeming gap, which is empty, nothing, right? It's kind of and then the thoughts came in. I'm like, I have to go to the meeting with Emerson, and what was I dreaming last night? Oh, that was just a contraction. What is not noticed is that since no one goes to bed and since no one goes to sleep, this is still dreaming. This is a continuation of that dream from that last night, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and there's really no days or nights. It's all a dream. It's this singular dream, and there's no one dreaming it.
Would you say it's all the same day? That's what Janis Joplin said.
It's all the same day. Yes. And there's no day.
Or there's no day.
Yeah. No night. Oh, for you. Yeah, no. No, there's no you. There's no night. Hi. Ooh, I have tea.
I was going to say, I guess
Just don't touch from the bottom.
kind of.
Oh, no.
What? Don't touch.
Touch in the middle, sorry.
Oh.
Hello?
I was going to say that, well, there's no one here to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I was going to say, similar to the idea of the storybook, when we talk about time, is this kind of like, I don't know, I'm grasping for straws here, but is this kind of like a movie script or something? I don't.
This is like a movie and it's playing, but there's no players in it. There's no one behind it, right? And once in a while in a movie like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the character breaks off and then talks to the screen, talks to the camera. And it's saying to the camera that none of this is real. That's what's being expressed here. Yeah, it breaks into the fourth wall. Yes. Kelsey asked, can I talk about free will? Since this is an illusion, since there's no time, everything that appears in time, everything that appears, let's go with the apparent Einstein, everything that appears in the apparent reality, including me, you, is unreal. So whatever the me or you does, including free will, free choice, is unreal. So since there's no time, and it's just this flimsy illusion, right? It's all an illusion. So since there's no time, everything that appears in time, including decisions and doing, is not real. So there's this appearance of free will and choice that I got here. I made a choice to attend this, and all that kind of stuff. But that's appearing in an illusory time, in an illusory dream, in an illusory character. Although it feels absolutely real that this is happening, going to the root of this communication, there's never been anyone here. So who makes a decision? Again, this is just all emptiness appearing as forms. This is the formless appearing as these forms. Dancing, seemingly this vibrant energy, this boundless energy that's appearing in these apparent appearances that is moving around. And all of this energy seems to go to sleep at night. And there's just this eternity appearing, deep sleep. And then apparently in the deep sleep, there's this dream that appears, all of this boundless again. And then there's another waking up. Guess who wakes up? No one. Guess what's always awake? Deep sleep. So deep sleep and awakeness are happening simultaneously, or deep sleep or dreaming is happening simultaneously. And that's just another story. Or I like that iPhone's analogy of everything is just a blank screen. And this blank screen, all of these appearances, sound, colors, this is a blank screen. But there's no one behind the blank screen. It's just a blank screen.
I guess it must be the obvious question. Why does the illusion then, or the character appear? Is it kind of like just cosmic play or something, just for fun? Or
It's not even appearing. It's not real.
it's what?
It's not even appearing. It's not real.
But it is appearing in a sense, though.
In the illusion. So there's the illusion, which is the unreal that feels real, right? So this is what's being expressed here, that there's this, let's just say that this is a play. It's a play of light. It's a play of duality. and there's really no duality. It's like a cosmic joke.
It has occurred to me before, kind of changing the subject maybe, but that I assume that there's something behind all this, behind what is me, or something on the other side, But then I thought, like, how can I can't really, how can I assume that anything does exist at all? Like, it's an automatic assumption for people that something exists, like on the other side, or something of that nature, or something exists, like God. I guess maybe thinking of it, but something exists before getting born, for example. I don't know.
So are you talking about other people?
No, I'm referring to existence itself. Like, how can I assume that anything does exist, that there is anything?
You just actually answered your question. How can you assume that anything exists? How can you?
Well, that's the thing. It kind of opened my mind. That's the thing. It kind of opened my mind, and I suddenly thought, why should I assume anything exists in, I don't know, like the darkness, or like, for example, deep sleep, when you're deep asleep? How can I assume anything exists in the first place? It's just an assumption, like a presumptuous.
So everything is just this seemingly kind of like, suggestion that something exists. It's like a place, like a dance, right? That there's this existence and everything. And when you go to deep sleep, there's no one that assumes anymore, because there's no one. In deep sleep, there's just this complete nothingness. There's no separation. There's no time. There's no assumptions. There's no knowledge. There's nothing at all. So that's what's being expressed here, that it is all this deep sleep.
Yeah, I guess is what's being expressed here, is the fact that, or to consider the possibility that nothing exists in the first place. Right.
Black hole.
Right.
Yeah. Someone actually expressed that this speaking is like a black hole. It just kind of like sucks in everything, and then until it's gone, really, right? And it's black magic. Yeah, Jack. If the me is listening to this, it won't figure it out, because the me is a character on the blank screen. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, iPhone. Oh, Cheryl. Cheryl, how are you? I can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm back. I just went
Hi.
to get some groceries in the pouring rain.
Nice.
So what I can accept is,
Yeah.
you were saying, so there is this aliveness, this boundless, brilliant, energetic energy.
Mm.
You said that at the beginning, I think, today. And
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah. So I'm not arguing with you, but there is something, what, like some teachers would say, is consciousness.
Yeah, see, that's completely all right if that's what seems to be appearing there. You know what I'm saying? But what's just being expressed here is this, and I think this is the theme. One of the theme of the day is just this consciousness awareness. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? It's just a word. But what's being expressed here is not personalized, right? It's not a teaching. This is a black hole. So anything understanding, I even change words all the time, because words are seemingly kind of like almost like a bookmarker on a book that doesn't exist, right? So I change words like emptiness into nothingness, and it flips around. But seemingly, since awareness is tied up in the teaching, and I was teaching it before as well, or the seat of the consciousness, or the abiding in the awareness, there seems to be a processing of what's being expressed as something that's immediate. So when I say brilliance, it's the immediacy. Boundless, it's the immediacy.
Mm,
It doesn't need to be recognized because it is already brilliant. It's already
mhm,
wondrous. It's already this seeming brilliance of everything, this radiance, right? And it doesn't need a separation. Everything is brilliance. Even
mhm,
even and what seems to appear here in this character is that yanking away of any specialness or any kind of like preferred things, because there seems to be a preference of like what should be radiant or awareness, and it gets almost into this religiosity and spirituality. So this is a black hole, basically saying that this is appearing as it is. So the coffee mug is brilliance, the water is brilliance. It doesn't need any awareness. It doesn't need any consciousness, or doesn't need any separation. But if seemingly what appears there is that's what the understanding is, that's completely all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm just basically expressing what is seen, and what's omitted and what's being seen is the learning or understanding on something that's just very clear and direct already. That doesn't
mhm,
need any kind of knowing. So this is actually ignorance is bliss, kind of like, communication. That everything that appears without any thought, without any knowing, is as it is, without any labeling, without any kind of like um understanding. And this character was really, really addicted to knowing and learning, and really, I wanted to be the most eloquent speaker. I would practice. I would have these lectures and practice. And here, you know what I'm saying? What's seeming appearing is just this instantness of this speaking. I don't practice or anything like that. I talk in between breaks, and it's not coming from anywhere.
mhm,
There's just this abundant passion in talking about something that is unknowable. It's just basically what's appearing here is just stating the obvious, that this is it, that this is clearly what is being looked for, but it doesn't need any kind of knowing. It obscures it. Any kind of understanding veils it. Any kind
mhm.
of any thought process on what seemingly is appearing, or any concept or any story, any history, anything that comes from any teachers, even speakers, even the speaker, if it becomes a knowledge, it becomes a knowing, then it becomes something. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, it
You
it's
don't
it's
want to define it too,
no,
you
it
don't
doesn't
want
go
to make it
anywhere.
too definite
Yeah, it's not a
because that
definite.
can get,
Yeah, it's not an understanding, because that's the trap.
and that can
Because
become meaningless.
yeah, so when the thought process starts coming in, it goes into this cyclical pattern of knowing,
Yeah.
and it traps what is into an understanding.
Hmm. What I've heard a lot of invited teachers talk about is, well, not a lot, but I've
Yeah,
heard one or two talking about that there are two levels almost. They don't say it
yeah,
quite like that, but
yeah,
the ultimate level, which is what you're talking about, and the other one is um, like the regular day-to-day level where we take care of our bodies, and that all just happens automatically. Do you agree with that?
everything is just automatic, right? So taking care of the body happens or not, and there's really no body.
Mm.
It's just automatic. It's just automatic. This character will probably eat more samosas after, and then maybe tomorrow we'll go to the Peloton bike. And that's
Hmm.
just what's happening. There's no one controlling any of that, right? But seemingly
Hmm.
there's this there's this gluttony that happens, and there's this exercising that happens. And it's just what
Yes.
is.
Hmm.
And it's just this, right? It's just this aliveness, this brilliance appearing as gluttony, appearing as samosa. Ooh, a samosa, that's brilliance. That's what's appearing, right?
Hmm.
So any knowing or understanding, or kind of like any teaching for that matter, robs what is.
But we do have to make plans, like we do. I mean, and I have things I like to do,
Yeah, of
that
course.
I want to
Yeah.
pursue them, and that involves making plans and organizing and
Oh,
buying
yeah,
the
yeah,
things I
yeah.
need and blah blah
I'm
blah.
all in for that. Yeah,
So
why not? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a denial. This is not dissociation.
Mm.
Everything is happening, including planning. That's automatic as well. It's like some people imagine this. I got an email actually. It goes, I'm feeling catatonic right now and I can't move.
No,
You know, saying,
can't
um,
move.
but I'm like, but I'm somehow, I said, you're typing this that you're catatonic.
Mm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
What's appearing is perfectly as it is. So planning happens, like I heard this new piano piece that I really, really like. And I want to remix it. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
learn it, right? So it
Mhm.
appears that a choice is happening here in trying to learn it. But
Mhm.
that's just this automaticness that no one is choosing to do anything. It's just this appearance.
And does that feel like a relief to you?
Yeah. Well, there's no
Mm.
me, right? Everything
Mm.
is just this aliveness, and it's engaged in aliveness, right? The character is engaged in aliveness. You can say that it's in the flow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
For
can
no one
understand.
though. Yeah.
But then, well, I guess not. But then I think the hurdle for a lot of people is to feel out of control. I know it is for me. I like listening to what you're saying, but in a way, it seems way out of control, and that's scary. You know.
That seems to
Mhm.
be a lot of apparent responses to this kind of like communication is that it's out of control, it's wild.
Mhm.
And but seemingly that wildness is what's resonating, isn't it?
Ah, maybe I don't know.
I don't know, see? What it's maybe this wildness is what rings true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Don't know. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Or maybe what this is basically what's familiar is this wildness.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm. Not a non-conforming kind of
And
wildness,
it,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, or maybe the wildness and not, and not this is basically the finger to the authority.
Mm.
And this is anarchy, yeah. And that sometimes and when this character was a spiritual teacher that was very controlled in a sense that I watched everything that I did, watched all my thoughts, abided in awareness, watched what I ate, did my mantras. It was a very very what do you call it, almost a very obedient,
Mm.
devoted kind of like robot, right? It was just doing all of this, and then when it heard that there's nothing to do, the discipline, it was very disciplined, it was very very disciplined, and avoided everything, right? But the characters also, in an apparent, other time, was basically a debaucherous gluttonous character.
Mm.
So it's a denial of that, right? But when it's seen that
I,
that's, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I'm just gonna sneeze.
Oh, okay. Blessings. So so when it's seen that this character, you know what I'm saying, doesn't have any choice, any control, and what's doing, it doesn't mean that it goes partying and everything. It actually doesn't do that anymore. There's just this almost like middle ground, kind of like there's just this peacefulness, right? Or you'll probably eat better after this weekend. You know what I'm saying? And whatever, there's just this relaxed character now that it doesn't go in a shame and blame spiral.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Yeah, I
go
know that
into,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't go into blaming others because there's no others. So it's
Hmm.
just this. It's just this. There's contention. That's the word that I was looking for. It's content. Whatever is happening, it's content. It lives. It lives in the suburbs. It's content. It lives with. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff is just contentment. It doesn't have a
That's
partner.
nice.
It's content. Um, it's the contentment. because all of the beliefs and all of the ideas of specialness was black holed. It got sucked out. All of the hopes and all of the dreams got sucked out. I'm like, oh damn it. So all that there is left in this apparent character in the story anyway is just this. So if all that ever was is this, then there's just this like, okay, this is all that there is. So there's this kind of like a seeming contentment of what this is. Because
Thank
it's
you.
brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. No more chasing rainbows. Yes. Hi, Emerson. It's hard to believe that you don't prepare your talks. Not really. No, because it's you know what? Because there's this love in speaking about this, right? So it's just I don't even think I'm an eloquent speaker at all. I don't think I'm even a good speaker. I'm just really talking about nothing, and there's just this passion and this aliveness in speaking about this, and there's just this clarity, I guess you can call that, in what's being spoken about. So there's no confusion, there's no levels, and there's no misunderstanding. It's just there's no knower, there's no source. So it's just coming automatically as that. Sometimes it appears as there's just no one at all. But I do like writing sometimes. This character's not a brilliant writer, but it likes writing sometimes, and there's a couple of books that will come out. Yeah. This is like DJing for this character. It's just this artistic expression of no one. There's just this, you know.
Did you create that video yourself?
Yeah.
So nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Someone asked me if I created that video. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's funny because when I started doing this, I have no experience in editing or video or graphics. And this is not a special attainment or something, but there's just this love that's appearing, this unconditional love in doing that. So I really enjoyed it. You know when they say that when there's an enjoyment, that there's no one doing it? Like when somebody kind of like loves gardening, loves I love playing the music. I like music. So when I listen to music, creativity, yeah. So this is creativity actually. This is a million ways to say nothing.
The video that he posted for this workshop. He made one.
Oh,
Unconditional.
unconditional wow, yeah.
Oh, right. I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I thought Vic died. What Vic? Go ahead.
But you said there's no source, and that just really, I'm kind of repeating what we were talking about earlier. But yeah, so you would say that there is no source. And then there's no ability to be aware or to be aware of the fact that you're aware.
Sorry, I'll just cut it short. Is there a source in deep sleep?
I don't know. I have no way of knowing.
So no one knows. So anything that comes up with a location, with a statement, with a conclusion that this is intelligence or this is being or this is kind of stuff has arrived at a location in a deep sleep. So this is unknowing, is what's being expressed here. There's no source in deep sleep. There's no knowing. There's no others in deep sleep. It's just a complete blank, right? So this is complete blank. If we're talking about non-duality and there's no separation, so there's no separation between deep sleep and this. There's no separation between time and timelessness. It's this. So you can also say that this is deep sleep. Wow. This is deep sleep. There's nothing happening here. This is a sourceless deep sleep. Wow.
Because we can't, I don't know, would you say we can't prove that this exists because I don't know. I think about the scientists not being able to find matter. Would you say we can't prove that this exists somehow? And the same as saying that there's no source, maybe.
Yeah. No one can prove that of this existence. Reality is a very persistent illusion. It feels real, but it's not.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Hi, Leela.
Hi, this is a science nerdy thing to say, but the fact
I like
that
science
people
and nerdy things.
people always use deep sleep, and you say
Yeah.
this is equivalent, but it actually isn't, because deep sleep has the presence of a body in it. For example, if someone's in deep sleep and you put their finger in water, they want to pee. They get up and pee.
Yeah. That's
It's not
a,
quite the same. It's more like death, like
yeah.
death.
So let's call it death instead of deep sleep.
Yeah.
All of these
Death
words
is
are just
better
pointing
than
to
deep
the
Yeah.
let's just call it death. Deep sleep is just another word that is just the absence of everything, basically, right? So let's call it death, which is also the absence of everything. So sorry, this is death. Rest in peace. Oh yeah. It's a remix, right? Yeah. I didn't make that. It was a guy named Jeremy Chilwell. What a cool name, Chilwell. No. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for this glorious nothing brilliance of an afternoon. Thank you for all the questions. We're going to take a break. And we'll see you in about an hour. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Emerson.
Bye, mate.
Thank
Take
you.
care, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I'm saving the best
Thanks,
for last,
Emerson.
which is nothing.
Love you, man.
Thank you.